Richard, how has this season been for you?
Hectic, kind of all bunched together, but ultimately it's been very, very enjoyable, obviously because of the way it panned out.
How did you feel when you were released by Ross County during the pandemic?
It was more the way it was all done, and I was quite vocal on the point, and probably not so much for myself. It was more, I think it was about 9 or 10, 18, 16, 17, 18-year-olds that were released into the wilderness with nothing really, and it just, it left a bad taste in my mouth. And then moving forward for myself, it was more your pride takes a hit, when you leave the Premiership and you need to look at dropping down a couple of levels. It does hurt your pride a little bit, but then once you get over that, you realise that if you want to continue playing football, which is what I did want to do, then you have to look at all your options, and thankfully I found myself here, and it's actually been one of the most enjoyable seasons in my career.
So you find yourself without a club, and Partick Thistle come along. How did it come along? And as you said, it was an enjoyable season, but how did the initial contact get made?
Brian Graham actually spoke to me. Obviously he was here and he'd said that the manager was keen to speak to me. And then I came along, I went and spoke to another club. Out of respect to them, I won't mention who they were, but and I was honest with the manager. I said, look, I'm coming to speak to you guys, I'm going to speak to them, and I just got a really good vibe from the manager. Kind of everything he said was, he seemed to, he's an older manager, which is kind of suits me better. And kind of, I think maybe sometimes younger managers feel a bit challenged because I'm quite opinionated and I'm loud, and I'm, I expect a good standard. But when I spoke to the manager here, he kind of, like I say, I got a really good vibe from him, and I went straight home and said to my wife, I really enjoyed that meeting. And in terms of where the club's based, where they were training, it kind of ticks all the boxes for me. And it was one of those, again, it was, you kind of wait to, you kind of almost think, right, what if something else comes up? But then my wife was like, well, you're changing the dynamic. You've been at Ross County and you were struggling at the bottom of the league, and mentally that's a really challenging thing. And then you're flipping it to go, right, we're going to go to probably the biggest team in the league. We should be challenging for the title. And I actually started to think, that's what, as a football player, you want to win things, you want to challenge for things, and I think just having the chance to do that at a club like Thistle was I realised that it was a great opportunity for me.
You mentioned that possibly your pride had taken a little bit of a hit, but was that a change of mindset for you that you turned it into the challenge? Again,
I've probably got my wife to thank for a lot of her counsel, but it's you're dropping down 2 leagues and you think, but I could still play at the top league. But she actually says to me, look, you've played, at that point I'd played nearly 600 games. She's like, you've got nothing to prove, not to anyone else, not to yourself. Take this opportunity and use it as, enjoy it basically. Go and enjoy playing football, enjoy challenging for titles and winning games. And County the season before, we never really won that many games. And I had the opportunity to come here, and the hope and expectation was we'd win more games than we'd lose. And like I said, just her saying that you've got nothing to prove, and I think that's what finally started to shift the mindset away from, oh no, I'm dropping down 2 leagues, to, what, this is a new challenge, this is exciting, and it's something I want to be part of.
You mentioned that coming here and Partick Thistle was a good place geographically for you, but when you came here, Partick Thistle weren't really in a good place in terms of what they had been through as a club. What did you find when you got here?
I found a real determination, to kind of put right some wrongs, a real determination to get back up the league, to get back to a place where Thistle should be. I got that instantly when I met the manager, and that's the message he tried to put across to the players on a daily basis. And then you go in and train with the boys, and a lot of good players. I think a lot of times you kind of dismiss the players down in League One and League Two and the Championship, but you go and train with them, and I was pleasantly surprised. Obviously I'd played with Brian before. I played against Stuart Bannigan a couple of times, Ross Docherty, so I knew they had quality. But then everybody else, that kind of, Zach Rudden was pretty much unknown to me, but as soon as you see him, you realise there's a real good player there. James Penrice the same, Shea Gordon the same. So it was actually a good experience to kind of get on the training pitch with the boys and realise these guys are good football players, and they're at a big club, and obviously they've been kind of put down unfairly. And like I said, there was a real determination for us to get ourselves back up.
How easy or how difficult is it to channel that feeling of being aggrieved into a positive? Because it could go the other way.
Yeah, it could. I think if you dwell on it too much, I mean, you think about it and you overthink it and you analyse things, then I think it can go negatively. But I think if the way the manager tried to, he never, I mean, he mentioned it a lot, but it wasn't. He never kind of laboured the point. It was just a case of this is what happened. Use that as motivation and go out and play. And I think he always tried to get us to believe that we were a good team, we had good players, and I think we gradually, as the season went on, and then obviously stopped and then came back, I think we realised that, you know, if we play on our day, we felt like we were the best team in the league. And I think in the last few weeks of the season, we certainly showed that. You know, we had a lot of tough games against Airdrie. I don't think we beat Cove in the season, but we still felt that we had enough over the piece to get ourselves to the top of the league. And the way it turned out was perfect for us. You know, the run that we went on towards the end was perfect. But you know, that's something that we wanted to do from the start of the season, but it never quite transpired like that. But yeah, I think all those early experiences, the loss to Clyde, the loss to Cove early in the season, they just toughen you up a little bit and make you more streetwise at this level. And you go, right, okay, we've dealt with those blows. We're stronger as a team now. And I think obviously in the latter part of the season, we really kind of put it all together and obviously came out on top.
How difficult was it to play without supporters?
It's just really strange. You know, there was a few of the games early on. I think had we had fans, I think we'd have got something from games, because they give you that boost when you need it. You know, and I think the Clyde game, the first game of the season, was, I know it was away from home, but it was really flat, and we struggled. We never played well. They were really stuffy to play against, and it just they scored and it just petered out for us really, and we lost the game. Whereas I think that's in those moments, having the fans, I think even if they're not happy, but they're vocal and they're loud, it just gives you like, right, we better get moving here, because they're expecting us to win this game. So I think but I mean, it's the same for everyone. You know, everyone's missed out on that, but it's you know, football is about the fans. You want to play in front of stadiums with fans in, home and away. Because it creates the atmosphere, it creates the buzz around the games, and a lot of games, and we tried not to let that happen, but a lot of games almost seem like training matches because there's no fans in. So it was really tough, and fair play to, you know, to us, to the rest of the league, to all the leagues just now that are doing it without fans, because mentally it's so different to playing with fans in stadiums. But we all wanted football back, and if that was the only way to get it back, then we were happy enough to get on with it, basically.
On that final run-in of games, where the momentum was building, what was the levels of confidence and excitement like? Yeah,
they got, you know, they got progressively higher as the games went on, and I can remember speaking to Darren Brownlee, and I think we had, it was maybe only the three, I think it was once we got into the playoff part, or the extra game, sorry, and it was like, oh, but if we win this and we draw that one and they drop, and I said, well, Daz, no, we just need to win the games, we just need to win all the games. And he's like, you're right. So obviously we went away and we drew with Cove, but proved to be a really good draw, because it put us in the driving seat that then you go and beat Falkirk and you win the league. And I think just, it was weird because we came in for the last game, so the Thursday night Falkirk, knowing that if we win the game, we win the league. And that was, you know, the first time in a good few years that I've felt proper nervous before a game. You know, obviously over my career I've been able to deal with nerves, and the more experience you get, the easier that becomes. But I was nervous, I had the kind of butterflies in the stomach. I says to Zach, I says, are you nervous? He's like, no, not really. I was like, I wish I had that kind of youthful ignorance almost, that this is a huge game, and he's just taking it in stride as if, and obviously he played the game and he was excellent and we won the game 5-0, but I was nervous in a good way, that kind of excitement, thinking, right, we're right on the cusp of this. And I don't know whether he just didn't think about it or whether that kind of things don't bother him, but I was kind of in awe of him not having any nerves. And you look at the way they played, and like certainly the younger ones, and they just played with a freedom that, yeah, we were better than Falkirk, we're going to win this game, we're going to win the league. But for me, there was always that kind of, but what if it doesn't happen? So it was quite nice to be part of a group where me as an experienced player was almost learning from one of the younger ones to say, right, okay, he's not nervous, so well then why should I be? And obviously we went out and we won the game 5-0, and it was really comfortable in the end. What
about though for someone at your stage in your career to be experiencing that again, was that a great lift that you could still get something from the game?
Yeah, that was what I went back to with the the kind of excitement of being part of that, because with all respect to Ross County, the lower end of the league, you're always kind of fighting, you're always biting and scratching for every single point, and it's tough and it's a different challenge. Whereas here, and having that kind of nervous excitement that I could go and win a league here, we could go and win a league. It's like I say, that's probably why, winning the league with Thistle, that this season as a whole is probably one of the most enjoyable I've had in my career, because yes, at the start it was tough and I didn't think we were going to come through, and without that run of games, as you mentioned, with the 5 wins in a row, I think 5 clean sheets, I don't think we would have done it, but just being able to be part of that, and being part of a squad where, like you said, towards the end of the season, as we keep winning games, the atmosphere lifts and the training's buzzing and everybody's really happy, and just to be part of a squad like that was like you say, at my stage in my career, then it was an excellent experience for me, and it's one that I'll always remember and I'll always cherish.